Why did God create Satan? Why would a loving, all-knowing God create a being like Satan who would go on to rebel and become the source of so much evil in the world? It's a question that has puzzled believers for centuries. If God is perfect and His creation is good, how could Satan exist? And if God knew what Satan would do, why did He allow it? The answers to these questions take us to the very heart of God's wisdom, sovereignty, and purpose. By exploring the story of Satan's creation and rebellion, we'll uncover profound truths about free will, the nature of good and evil, and God's ultimate plan for victory over darkness. To understand why God created Satan, we first need to know who Satan is. The Bible describes him as a created being, originally known as Lucifer, a name that means morning star or light bearer. He wasn't always the adversary we know today. In fact, Lucifer was created as a magnificent angel, full of beauty and wisdom, and given a position of great honor in God's kingdom. In Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 12 through 17, we read a symbolic description of Lucifer's original state. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. This passage paints a picture of an angel who was uniquely blessed and entrusted with great responsibility. However, Lucifer's beauty and position led to pride and rebellion. Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 through 15, describes his fall. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High. Lucifer's desire to elevate himself above God marked the beginning of his transformation into Satan, which means adversary. His rebellion led to his expulsion from heaven, and he became the leader of fallen angels, working to oppose God and His plans. Satan's story begins with beauty and purpose, but his pride turned him against his Creator. This raises the question, if God knew what Lucifer would become, why did He create him? Let's explore that next. If God is all-knowing, He must have known that Lucifer would rebel and become Satan. So why did He create him? The answer lies in understanding the nature of God's creation and the gift of free will. The Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, that everything God created was very good. This includes Lucifer, who was made as a perfect and glorious being. However, God didn't create robots or puppets. He created beings with free will. Free will is the ability to choose, and it's an essential part of genuine love and worship. For love to be meaningful, it must be freely given, not forced. Lucifer, like all angels, was created with the ability to choose. He could either submit to God's authority or reject it. Tragically, Lucifer chose to misuse his freedom by rebelling against God out of pride and a desire to elevate himself. This rebellion didn't originate from a flaw in God's creation, but from Lucifer's own decision to turn away from his Creator. God allowed this because free will is integral to His design for creation. Without it, there would be no genuine worship, no authentic relationships, and no true obedience. The possibility of rebellion was the cost of granting free will, but God's ultimate plan would always bring redemption and justice out of even the darkest choices. So, why did God create Lucifer? Because God's creation is good, and He desired beings who could freely choose to love and worship Him. But Lucifer's choice to rebel reminds us of the seriousness of free will and the consequences of turning away from God. Now that we've seen why Lucifer was created, let's explore what led to his rebellion and his transformation into Satan. Lucifer's fall from grace is one of the most dramatic moments in Scripture, highlighting the destructive power of pride and rebellion. Though he was created as a perfect and glorious angel, Lucifer's heart turned away from God. His rebellion began with a desire to elevate himself above his Creator, fueled by pride in his own beauty and power. In Isaiah chapter 14, verses 13 and 14, We read Lucifer's defiant thoughts. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly. I will make myself like the Most High. These words reveal his ambition to usurp God's authority and take his place. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 17, explains the root of his downfall. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. Lucifer's pride blinded him to the reality that his power and beauty were gifts from God, not something he could claim as his own. Lucifer's rebellion didn't just stop with himself. He led a third of the angels in heaven to join him in his revolt against God, as described in Revelation chapter 12, verses 3 and 4. This rebellion resulted in a cosmic. Satan's expulsion didn't end his mission of defiance. He redirected his focus to humanity, seeking to corrupt and oppose God's creation at every turn. This rebellion against God and his ongoing work to deceive and destroy reveal the consequences of misusing free will. Satan's story reminds us of the devastating effects of pride and disobedience. But it also raises another important question. Why didn't God stop Satan? Why allow his rebellion to unfold? Let's explore that next. If God knew that Lucifer would rebel and become Satan, why didn't he stop him before he could bring so much evil into the world? The answer to this question takes us deep into God's sovereignty, wisdom, and ultimate plan for redemption. First, we must remember that God is in complete control. Satan's rebellion did not catch God by surprise, nor did it disrupt his plans. Isaiah chapter 46, verses 9 and 10 reminds us, I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me. I make known the end from the beginning. My purpose will stand. God allowed Satan's rebellion to unfold because he values free will. Without it, there would be no genuine love or obedience. Additionally, God's plan was always to use Satan's rebellion to display his glory and bring redemption. Romans chapter 8, verse 28 assures us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. While Satan's rebellion has caused great harm, it also highlights God's wisdom and power to bring good out of evil. Let's now consider how Satan's existence fits into God's ultimate plan. Although Satan's rebellion brought sin and suffering into the world, it never disrupted God's ultimate plan. In fact, Satan's existence serves to magnify God's glory, justice, and love by showcasing his power to redeem and triumph over evil. God's plan has always been to defeat Satan and rescue humanity from sin. Through Jesus Christ, God has already secured victory. Colossians chapter 2, verse 15 declares, and having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. But the story doesn't end there. Revelation chapter 20, verse 10 promises Satan's final defeat in the lake of fire. Evil will not have the final word. God's justice will prevail. The question of why God created Satan leads us to profound truths about God's sovereignty and purposes. Even Satan's rebellion reveals God's justice, mercy, and ultimate victory. Let's trust his wisdom, knowing he is in control. What are your thoughts? Share your insights in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Blessed by Jesus for more teachings that inspire faith.